Manipulating cells and cell content. Copying a cell or range of contents within a workbook. If you select a range, so for instance if we selected the range B4 to E4 by clicking on cell B4, holding the mouse button down and dragging across to E4, when we release the mouse button that range is selected. If we want to copy this selected range to another part of the same workbook, all we have to do is press Ctrl C. You'll notice it's now highlighted with this dotted line around it. Click to where you want to paste it to, so for instance we'll click on this cell C20, and once cell C20 has been selected, if you press Ctrl V, the contents will be pasted down to that particular location. If I click on the undo button here and just click and press escape to release everything, let's say I wanted to select this entire range. If I click here, then press the mouse button down and drag across, I've selected this entire range here. Again, if I want to copy that using the clipboard, now it's been selected, I can press Ctrl C, click someplace else, press Ctrl V, and away it goes. Press escape just to deselect that, and if I click on the undo button, press escape to just release everything, we're back to where we started. You can use drag and drop techniques if you want to. So let's say for instance you want to drag across that area to select it. I've now released the mouse button, it remains selected. If I wanted to copy that to another area on the same worksheet, if I press the Control key down and then move the mouse button to one of the corners, can you see what happens? When I go to here, can you see the little plus sign? Let me do that again. I'm pressing the Control key down, I'm going to keep it held down. I'm going to move the mouse pointer up to one of the edges here, and can you see the little plus sign? When you see that little plus sign, you press down with the mouse button. This is with the Control key still pressed down. You drag to a new location. When you release the mouse button and then release the Control key, as you can see, using drag and drop techniques, you have now copied that selected range. If I undo that, just so you can see that again, let's say I just wanted the contents of the cell A1 to be copied. If I move to the edge of this, normally it looks like that. If I press the Control key down, you see the little plus symbol attached to the pointer, and with the Control key pressed down, if I drag and then drop by letting the mouse button go, as you can see, when I release the Control key, that the contents of that cell have now been copied down to the contents of this cell. I'll delete that and we're back where we started. So that's basically how you copy ranges or individual cell contents from one place to another. Deleting cell contents. If you want to delete the contents of a cell, just simply click on the cell so it's selected, press the delete button and it's gone. You can of course always use the undo button here, or the undo icon, and it's back again. That worked for an individual cell. If you want an entire range, so for instance let's say if I click here and drag across here and then let go of the mouse button, let's say I select this area here, if I want to delete those, press the delete key, it's gone. Go up here, it's back again. So again, one more time, if I want to delete those items there, first of all you select those items, press the delete key and it's gone. And that's how you delete items within Excel. Moving the contents of a cell or a cell range within a workbook. If I select a range, so let's select this range here. If I want to move that from here to someplace else, you just simply go Control X. And what Control X does, it copies the selected items to the clipboard. Click on the place you want to paste it to, so if I click on say cell C20 and then do Control V, that will paste the information down. So if I undo that, right, let's say I want to move those headers at the top to maybe the bottom row. I select them, press Ctrl X, click to where you want to move it to, then press Ctrl V. It's as simple as that. There is an easier way of doing it. If I click and select those items there, if I want to simply move these items someplace else, if I move the mouse pointer to the edge of the selected item, can you see what happens when the mouse pointer changes to that shape? So normally it's like that, it changes to that shape. If you press down the mouse button and keep it held down, and then just simply drag, and then when you let go of the mouse button, it moves. So basically that's how you can drag and drop and move items. So if you want the entire data area here selected, you drag across it. If you wanted that moved to a different location, you just go to the edge here, wait till the mouse pointer changes like so, press down and keep the mouse button held down, and then you can just move to a new location, doesn't matter where you go to. Or when you release the mouse button, here we go, it's been moved from one place to another. If you don't want to do that, of course, you've always got the undo key, so you can always undo it. Editing cell content. Here we have a typical small table of data. If I want to change the content, let's say I want to change the word region to sales region, then basically if I just double click in front of the R, you see the insertion point is now there. So I could type in the word sales, space region, so I could do that. If I undo that, let's see of other ways we can do that. If you click up here, well, I've selected this cell, the cell B3, and then up here I can edit the words directly. So that's another way I could have edited the data. So basically you can use all the normal editing techniques to edit the data, be they be numbers or text, within your workbooks. If you want to, you can change words directly by just double clicking on them. So for instance, the word west, if I want to change that to the word central, I can double click on it and type in the word central. Again, if you want to change a number in here, you can click within the number and edit it using the normal ways, or if you double click on the number, you can type in a number, a new number over it. So all the usual editing techniques, they all apply within Excel. Copying and moving data between worksheets within different workbooks. Here I've opened a workbook called Between Workbooks 1. If I press Ctrl O, which displays the open dialog box, this allows me to open another worksheet or workbook. In this case it will be called Between Workbooks 2. So if you click on the View menu here and then go to where it says Switch Windows, you can quite clearly see I now have two workbooks open, one called Between Workbooks 1 and one called Between Workbooks 2. So if I click on where it says Between Workbook 1, if I want to select this, I just drag across it. To copy that information into the clipboard, you press Ctrl C. So I've now, within Between Workbooks 1, I've now copied that area of data there. If I switch to the second workbook here, and then go Ctrl V, I've now copied the pasted data from one workbook to another workbook. So we've gone from one worksheet within one workbook to another worksheet in a second workbook altogether. Had I wanted to move rather than copy, I would have used Ctrl X rather than Ctrl C to select the initial data, but apart from that it's exactly the same. So if we actually try that, let's go back to the original data. Let's say in this case I just want to select the contents of cell A1. If I press Ctrl X, that cuts it to the clipboard. If we go over here, go to the second workbook, we'll go to where we want to paste the data, Ctrl V, it's now been moved. If we go back to the original, as you can see, it's no longer there. So basically you've seen how to copy and to move data from one workbook to another workbook, and you can also determine which worksheets they go to. Incidentally, by default we went from the default worksheets, just to show you that you can decide exactly where you want to go. If we go to the first workbook here, we can select, say, just that data there, We can do Control C. We can go over to, we can go over to the second workbook, and this time we can pick a second sheet. So you can pick the sheet, of course. If we do Control V now, whoops, must have done something wrong there. Let's try that again. Let's select that, do Control C, go over to the second workbook, select the required worksheet, Control V, and in it goes. Using Autofill. Here we have a simple workbook, and we have some items already typed in. In this case, we've got the word Monday. Now, if I move the mouse pointer to this point here, so look what happens. The mouse pointer looks like this. I move it to here, i.e. the bottom right of the cell, and it changes to that small crosshair. Let's try it again. Normally it looks like that. You move it to the bottom right of the cell, it looks like that. Now, if you press down with the mouse button and keep it held down, look what happens when you drag down the screen. Can you see what's happening here? I haven't let go of the mouse button yet, but as you can see, as I go down, it's basically displaying the days of the week. Let's let go of the mouse button here. Can you see what happens? I just click outside. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Basically, it's decided the sequence. It's auto-filled the area I dragged over with that sequence. Let's undo it. Let's try it again. Let's click on there, move the mouse pointer to here, and as I slowly drag down, see what happens? So I can go all the way to Sunday if I want to. When I let go of the mouse button, there we have all the days of the week. If I click on where it says January, and again I move the mouse pointer to here, drag down, if I go to this number sequence here, I might select 1 and 2, and then drag down, it auto-fills the number sequence. It can be a more complicated number sequence. If I go 2, 4, select that, move to here and drag down, it recognizes the sequence. If we try another one, let's try 3, 6. And if we drag down, it recognizes the sequence. So that's autofill. Sorting a cell range. Basically, we have two columns here. If we click within the first column here, then within the Home tab, if we look over here, there's this Sort and Filter button. If you click on that, you can sort A to Z or Z to A. So if we click on where it says A to Z, as you can see, we've sorted this first column in the order A to Z, i.e. A's first, then B's and C's and what have you. If you click somewhere within this first column, click on this icon again, and this time we click on where it says Sort Z to A. As you can see, we've now sorted in the opposite direction. So probably with countries, you would probably want to go to A to Z, like so. If we click within the second column here, which is value of sales, and again if we click within this icon here, we can sort smallest to largest. So there we are, smallest to largest. And if we click over here and go largest to smallest, as you can see, we're now going largest to smallest. So in this case, values of sales, we probably want to sort by largest first, then to the smallest, so we can see how well the sales department had done. In terms of countries, you would probably want to, in this case, do an alphabetical sort of A to Z. But basically that's how you do it. So as I say, you click within the column you want, you make sure the Home tab is selected, then over here in the editing section, you click on where it says Sort and Filter, and then basically select the item you want. So in this case we'll go A to Z, and there you are, it's sorted Australia first in this case, and United States last. So that's how you sort a column. Searching and replacing data. If I just simply click within this table, as you can see there's various things. We've got numbers here, some numbers here, and some words here. So let's say I want to find all occurrences of the word red. If I press Control F, this brings up the Find and Replace dialog box, and if I just type in the word red, R-E-D, and then click on where it says Find Next, you can see the first instance is here. Find Next again, This is the next instance. Find next, we're taken to here. Find next takes us to the next one, and again, and again. Press it again, we go back to the original one. So basically what that does is each time we click on find next, as you can see, it just cycles around all instances of the item you're selecting, or the item you're searching for. If we change that to blue instead, and then click on find next, then obviously it will find all instances of the word blue. That's as simple as that. So if I just make that go away by clicking on here, we press Control F to display the Find and Replace dialog box. If you prefer doing that with menus, if you click on the Home tab here, right over at the edge here you've got the Find and Replace icon here. If you click on that and then click on where it says Find, that basically does exactly the same thing. But basically Control F is the shortcut key there. Let's say you wanted to replace items instead of finding them. So let's say you wanted to find the word red and replace it with the word orange. Then I could use the long way, which is clicking on the Home tab here. I could go to where it says Find and Select, and then I could click on Replace, and that would bring up the Find and Replace dialog box. I mean, that works just fine. I could type in the word I want to find and the word I want to replace it with there. I'll click on Close. An easier way is Control H. So it's a good shortcut to remember that, Control H. So let's say I want to find all occurrences of the word red and replace it with the word orange. So what this is saying basically is use find and replace, find what red, replace with orange. So as you can see there's numerous instances there. If I click on where it says find next, I can basically say yep, I want to replace that, or if I just say find next, I can ignore it. So I'll say yep, I'll replace that. So as you can see, it got replaced. If I click on replace again, and again, and again. Incidentally, I could click on replace all. Let's try that. As you can see, in one fell swoop, that replaced everything. That can be very dangerous using replace all, so use that sparingly, or make sure you backed up your data. I'm speaking from personal experience here. It's very easy to mess things up with replace all. Personally, unless it's a huge database and you have to use it, I would always replace items item by item and make sure you've actually replacing what you thought you were selecting and replacing. Otherwise you can have horrendous problems sometimes, so just be careful.